How's it going, guys? This is my third attempt to make this video. I can't see when my movie or when my camera stops recording, so I'm going to try to do it in the time allotted and keep it under 10 minutes. My name is Reese. If maybe some of you have seen me posting in this group before. I've been saying for a couple days now that I'm going to make this video, so here I am making this video. I have previously made a video on this topic, and I'm going to take that video down because I've had some new experiences and new information and been talking to some people who are pretty knowledgeable in this area since I made that video. So hopefully this is going to be kind of a little bit of an updated video. I just wanted to talk a little bit about getting your insurance to cover your top surgery. This could be for top surgery or other trans care, but I'm going to talk about it in regards to top surgery in this video. Please excuse me, I am not an in front of the camera person, so I get a little awkward in front of cameras. I'm a filmmaker and photographer, so I'm usually behind the camera. It's where I'm most comfortable, so if I'm a little awkward, just forgive me. Before I get into this discussion, I just want to talk a little bit about, just kind of like give you an idea of my own process and let you know that I didn't end up finishing out this process because I was kind of in a really dark place in regards to surgery and it just needed to happen. So I ended up paying out of pocket, but I did go through this process myself and got frustrated because there were some little hiccups along the way and I wasn't in a good mental health state to be able to handle it. That I know that it's a serious, urgent issue for some of us, for many of us. So if you have the money and you can't go through this process, like, I get it. I really do. Here's the thing about insurance companies. Insurance companies are evil, as most of us or all of us know. They make their money by not paying for our health care, for everyone's health care. So it's slimy. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. It's just disgusting. It is what it is. But I think that we can change it, and I think that we can make some solid change if more of us arm ourselves with the information that I'm about to give you and go out and try to put up a fight. Most insurance companies, first of all, insurance policies, so I've seen a lot of questions about this in this group, and I just want to throw this information out there. Insurance companies can have policies for different employers. I have United. It might not be the same policy as your United. My employer has a trans-inclusive policy. Yours may not. So mine doesn't exclude trans services. Yours may, even though we both have United. However, there is legal language in these contracts, these policies, that can be a little bit of a loophole because insurance companies, as much as they don't want to pay, they also don't want to be liable if something happens to you, either from, if they say they didn't pay for some treatment and then as a result you got hurt or died or sick, that would be a huge liability for them, and they don't want to come back and get sued. So there's that. That said, the first thing you need to do is get a copy of your contract or policy. This is not the summary of benefits that says generally these things are covered at these percents. That document is typically a couple of pages, and it's very broad. You want the actual contract, the actual policy it's usually many, many, many pages. Mine was an entire book. It had a list of exclusions from the policy that said what this is not covered, which is usually where you find that SRS is not covered. And that was at least 8 pages probably. But the whole policy itself, I want to say it was at least 100 pages. It's a very long document. Insurance companies do not like to give out those documents, by the way. So here's your first hurdle to be aware of, is getting that document. Can be tricky for some people. It took me months to get mine. I had to call them over and over and over. They kept telling me they sent it. I sent it. I know they didn't. And so it took me a long time to get that. So just know that can be a wait. I find knowing what to expect is sort of half the battle. You're going to want to contact probably the Transgender Legal Defense Fund. They're based in New York City. They will help you no matter where you are. they will assign you a free attorney who will review this document for you. I can almost guarantee you that they're going to tell you that you need to have this document before they start, really working with you. However, if you were to call, because sometimes I just feel like when I was in this process, just doing something helped. Just made me feel like, okay, I'm doing something to work towards this. So even if they're going to tell you, you need to get this policy, sometimes it feels better just to call and have a contact. So once you've contacted them, they're going to tell you you need to get them this policy. Like I said, insurance companies don't want to give these policies out like candy because when you have information, they're more likely to have to pay. That's the big thing. Here's what happens. Most people, they see that it's not covered and then they're like, well, shit, I'm out of luck. And insurance companies bank on you doing that. That's the easiest way for them not to have to pay. So if you can arm yourself with the information, the more likely they are to have to pay. So they don't like to give those out. So it may take you a little while to get it, but they have to give you that policy. You talk to your HR person at work if you have a policy through work. They can help facilitate getting that. I was very vague. I didn't go to our employer and say, this is why I want it. I just was like, I want this document. It depends on, and depending on your work situation, how trans friendly your HR person is, it's not really any of their business. You just want to get the policy. So once they get that, this is what they had me do. They had me file a claim. I knew that I was going to get denied, and I did. File appeal. You get supporting documents to file this appeal. A letter that says this is medically necessary, that sort of thing. And then typically half the time, not even half the time, I don't know what the percentage is, to be honest, really. Some of the time, an insurance company will just go ahead and approve your appeal because they don't want to spend any more time. In the grand scheme of things, to them, what's $7,000 really? And if they know that you're going to put up a fight, they're just kind of like, whatever. Some of them won't. Some of them will continue being like, nope, not going to cover it. And that's really, I think, where the Transgender Legal Defense Fund will get involved and come into play. They can build a case for you. If you live in a state with gender non-discrimination laws, they may have you file an actual complaint with the State Board of Health. There's regulatory groups that regulate insurance companies and all that. Doctors, all that good stuff. I'm not exactly sure of the specifics, but they may have you do that. You may do that anyway, even if you live in a state without gender non-discrimination laws. I think the more we can raise our voice and the more we can do, the more progress we're going to make. I know that at that point, once the Transgender Legal Defense Fund sort of builds a case, I think that a lot of times insurance companies, when they are like, well, shit, they're going to take us to court. It's going to be cheaper for them to just pay for the stinking surgery, right? Court's going to cost a lot more than about $7,000. So sometimes at that point, they will just back down. This is what the Transgender Legal Defense Fund told me. I'm just passing along information that was part of my experience. This may or may not be true for every single experience. So I'm just kind of giving you the process that I went through. It is even possible that you can get covered after your surgery. So if you just recently had surgery and you had to pay out of pocket and you have insurance, it is worth giving them a call and saying, hey, can you review this policy? Because they told me that there is the remote possibility that you can even get covered after, reimbursed after the fact. So just because you're like, oh crap, I just had surgery, but I have insurance, doesn't mean that there's not a possibility that you could still get covered. I think it's worth a phone call. I don't know that that's the case. I'm not saying it is the case. I'm saying it's worth a phone call and investigating. Because if you can get your $7,000 or $8,000 back, try to, For me, that was what I was going to try to do, but there was a little glitch in some of the paperwork. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. Like I said, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not an attorney. I can share these experiences with you that I've had. I can share information that I've gotten from, an attorneys through this process. So if you have questions, by all means, feel free to shoot me a message or post in the group. I see pretty much most things that people post. Just mention me in your comments or whatever. Yeah, I'm happy to support anybody who wants information on this process. I think the more we can do as a whole to fight the system and make some change, the more they're going to have to start covering people in the future, and the more system-wide change, I mean, systemic changes that we can make to this in regards to trans healthcare. So I think it's important that we help folks out and try to make some change, raise our voices. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know, and I'll see you in the group.